Happy March 20th. JLD here, and welcome to MSTR today. And it is a happy day because MSTR broke 300. Got to celebrate the good days. Also, we're going to talk about Trump and Michael Saylor speaking today at the Digital Asset Summit. So bullish. Should Turkey buy Bitcoin? A little bit of a question mark there. And then is strategy going to $1 trillion in 2025 as a market cap? We'll talk about that. Of course, we have two epic video clips of Michael Saylor for you. And this video is not financial advice. I would love your comments below. Where are you watching from? Just comment for support. Let me know what you're thinking. Any questions you have, great conversations in the comments. So thank you in advance. And let's dive on in. Happy day today. I mean, we have a nice green day for strategy. And listen, we've got to celebrate the good days and we have to weather the rough days together because there are both ahead for sure. That is the nature of strategy, a very volatile stock. But it's great to see a 5-day run of over 16%. So if you've been enjoying this run, I just wanted to take a second to celebrate that. Looks like we're a little down in the pre-market here, so we'll see where the market opens, but let's just celebrate these wins. Wanted to share this post from Bitcoin Archive because President Trump and Michael Saylor are speaking at the Digital Asset Summit today. I mean, this is so bullish. I mean, how often now they're holding these digital asset summits? I just love it. I'll be so tuning in. Let's go. Michael Saylor, make it happen. Michael Saylor wants Turkey to try Bitcoin because look at the Turkish Lira. I mean, it has been an absolute disaster for the Turkish Lira as it's compared to the US dollar, and even worse when you're comparing it to Bitcoin. I mean, look at this. And then they just had, I think it was the mayor of Istanbul was arrested on some kind of corruption charges. And that's why there's this little spike here as well. It's even making it worse at the very end, just yesterday, I think. So, I mean, this is just such a great example of why, if you're watching this in Turkey right now, please comment below. Like, what are you thinking about this? What is your thoughts on Bitcoin, on strategy? If you're in any country that's having similar issues, and believe me, the US is having these issues with currency debasement. So just let me know what you think in the comments below. And Chris has a good point on this. Countries issue currency to the detriment of its citizens. Strategy issues stock to the benefit of its shareholders. Do you understand? Like Chris wants us to know that issuing currency from a country, it's to the detriment of the citizens. It is diluting the citizens. When strategy issues stock, it's to the benefit of the shareholders. It is accretive. We are getting more Bitcoin yield, more Bitcoin gain. Our Bitcoin percentage is increasing, period. End of story. Chris also wants us to share the unavoidable path for strategy shareholders. First, they ignore us. And I remember being ignored when everybody would be like, hey, what do you talk? Who's Michael Saylor? Like, what strategy? I remember these days. And then when they started finding out, they're like, oh my God, this guy's a snake oil salesman. Did you see what happened to him back in 2000 when his stock went from like 300 to 45 cents? Ha ha ha. What a bad idea. He's such a bad person, such a bad CEO, such a bad leader. Laughing, laughing, laughing. Then they fight you. This is where we're at right now because they've seen, the best performing stock, MSTR, in the past 4+ years, and they missed it and they hate it. So they're fighting it because now they want it to fail so they can feel less stupid. They already feel stupid because they missed it, but now they want to feel less stupid because they want, if it fails, they're like, well, at least it did fail. And then this is where we're going. As I like to say, it's inevitable. We win. And then we win. And when we win, look at the little shush mark. We don't need to scream it from the rooftops. You'll know, I'll know, we'll know, our families will know because all of a sudden we'll be doing some pretty cool things, trips, etc. It'll be a good time. But this is the process. End of story. Want to share this post from Adam Livingston. Those who think that MSTR is betting on Bitcoin equals wrong. MSTR made a thesis executed capital structure upgrade in anticipation of fiat's terminal decline. Get real, folks. Half of you bears think Saylor is some degenerate gambler hopped up on Adderall and leverage, chasing Bitcoin moonshots like a Redditor with a margin account and a Monster Energy IV drip. MSTR is the last sane fortress in an empire of rot. The MNAV bears and the other low IQ jagaloons on this site think Bitcoin is a speculative asset. Bitcoin isn't the risk. The US dollar is the risk. Fiat is the entropy. Fiat is the fire. Saylor is using dying money to acquire immortal energy. That is a hedge, not a risk trade. It is the finest structural short ever conceived, one on civilization's monetary operating system. You clowns laugh when I say Daddy Saylor is playing a 9D necromancer chess, but you need to keep in mind that this is literally capital structure engineering meets metaphysical rebellion. You can take the side of digital immortality or trust the system that will have a heavily medicated diversity hire with a Tumblr blog as the Fed chairman. It's no secret to anyone that we're in the midst of a civilized collapse. Pick the right lane. And I think that the shopping lane that Michael Saylor picked has Bitcoin in it because he's got a shopping cart full of Bitcoin and a smile ear to ear, baby. All right, let's talk about the Strategy archive, putting out some good threads recently. 1 out of 5. Strategy could hit $1 trillion market cap this 2025 via the S&P 500 inclusion. Currently at 79 billion with a 499,000 Bitcoin. This would represent one of the most extraordinary valuation expansions in financial history. 2 out of 5. The magic number, Bitcoin needs to exceed 96,500 by the end of March 2025 for Strategy to report positive earnings and qualify for the S&P 500. Bitcoin is currently at 86,000 and getting closer every day. 3 out of 5. Why this matters. S&P 500 inclusion would trigger a $10 billion plus in passive income flow, 10x larger than the NASDAQ 100 inclusion did. Strategy already ranks number 46 in the NASDAQ 100 with 921 million in daily volume. 4 out of 5. The numbers don't lie. Strategy now holds 500,000 Bitcoin, 2.38% of all Bitcoin at the average cost of 66,357 with a Bitcoin yield of 6.86% year to date and trading at a 1.85x NAV premium despite 9.26 billion in debt at just a 0.37 interest rate. This is financial engineering, is unprecedented in corporate history. 5 out of 5. Over 100 million Americans own S&P 500 index funds through 401ks and IRAs. Strategy's inclusion would represent the single largest Bitcoin adoption event in history, bringing Bitcoin exposure to mainstream portfolios without investors needing to buy crypto directly. And guys, Strategy Archive, he's putting out some good work. Definitely recommend to follow here. He only has 24 followers here, but I found him because he commented on one of my posts, and he's putting in the work. And I highly recommend giving him a follow. Let's bump him up over 100 after this video at Strategy Archive. The link will be right below in the show notes. And now I have 2 epic Michael Saylor clips that we're going to get to as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsor. So check it out. I know we're all looking to stack more Bitcoin and MSTR, and to do that, we need more fiat. So let's chat about our sponsor, ShipStation. We all know the market can seem pretty chaotic at times, but if you're in charge of order fulfillment for your business, you already understand chaos. While we might not be able to help calm the chaos in the market, ShipStation is here to help when it comes to shipping and fulfillment. I've used ShipStation to easily automate shipping to customers around the globe. My favorite part about the platform, managing orders in one simple dashboard makes an otherwise massive task feel pretty darn simple. Plus, ShipStation not only integrates with the services and selling channels you already use, it's also the fastest, most affordable way to ship products to your customers. ShipStation hooks you up with discounts up to 88% off UPS, DHL Express, and USPS rates, and up to 90% off FedEx rates. Calm the chaos of order fulfillment with the shipping software that delivers. Switch to ShipStation today. Go to shipstation.com/MSTR to sign up for your free trial, or click the pinned comment below this video. That's shipstation.com/MSTR. And thank you for supporting our sponsors that allow myself and my team to continue to produce these daily videos for you for free. Now back to the show.
Bitcoin is the one universally acknowledged commodity. If we let banks in the United States use Bitcoin and custody it and sell it and buy it and loan against it, if the United States government begins to hold it in a strategic reserve, the beneficiary will be America.
If you could talk to President Trump and say, here's the one thing I would tell you to do to ensure that America leads the way in the crypto space, what would you tell him?
I would say he's already done the first thing, which is highlight Bitcoin as a store of value, as digital gold, and put the United States support behind a strategic Bitcoin reserve. The second thing is to support the creation in law of a legitimate path for issuers in the United States to issue digital tokens, digital securities, and digital currency. Because if American companies can create those digital assets, we will become bankers to the world.
What does the future look like to you with Bitcoin, with cryptocurrency in general? Where do you see it 5, 10, or even 100 years from now?
I think big tech is going to embrace Bitcoin. They're going to let you hold your Bitcoin on your iPhone, on your Android phone. It will find its way into Microsoft software, Amazon software, Google, Apple software. I think that banks are going to embrace Bitcoin. So your bank's going to give you a loan against your Bitcoin. It'll buy Bitcoin for you. Insurance companies will start to support Bitcoin. I think families will increasingly begin to see it as their savings account. The yoga studio, the restaurant, the hotel chain, they'll be able to raise capital in order to improve their business and to innovate. And I think that sound money, that will spread through South America, Africa, Asia. It'll try to China. So I think the future is American values, American technology, not just making America great, but also spreading economic prosperity to the entire world.
Well, Michael Saylor, I want to say thank you. Thanks for breaking it down for us, making it more palatable, I think, to the average person to understand and feel comfortable with, because it really does feel like this is the future. This is where we're headed. And thanks for joining us for a little bit.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Where is it headed? Well, there's an open source model. You can download it on GitHub called Bitcoin 24. Plug in your own assumptions. Our assumptions, well, Bitcoin's currently 22 basis points of the global economy. That's $2 trillion. Over 20 years, right now it's been growing about 60% a year. If it decelerates from 60% a year to 20% a year, the average return is going to be 29% a year over the 20 years. That is the base case. That arrives at a price of $13 million of Bitcoin in USD terms, or $280 trillion in the network. Does the world turn upside down? No. What happens? Well, everything pretty much stays the same, except for those that embrace Bitcoin get rich and powerful. Those that don't embrace Bitcoin get weaker and poorer. Otherwise, everything that you see in the world today will still be there in the world in 20 years. Bitcoin is not a threat to the dollar. The dollar is currency. Bitcoin is capital. In the modern world, there are plenty of academic economists. They will just recite ad infinitum. Well, money is a store of value, a medium of exchange, a unit of account. There, I told you. And they just haven't really thought about that past just rote memory. This is why you shouldn't rote memorize stuff in education. Think a little bit harder about what's going on here. If you need money for the next 4 weeks in Argentina, then you're using the peso. If you need money for the next 4 years in Argentina, you're using the dollar. If you need money for the next 40 years in Argentina and you're smart, you're using the Bitcoin. And so the dollar is competing, but is competing against the M2 money supply of the CNY, Chinese currency, European currency, Japanese currency. Right now, we're about 17% of that. We should be able to grow to 30% of that. How? With digital currency. If U.S. banks and U.S. corporations can issue digital currencies backed by the U.S. Treasury, we will expand that supply of U.S. currency by $10 trillion, right? That's a digital asset strategy. That's why the stablecoin bill and the Genius Act matter. It is not capital. Bitcoin is less than 1% of the capital of the world. What does it compete with? Not the dollar. Bitcoin competes with property, equity, and bonds. Property, equity, and bonds. And what is it? It's 1%. And what is it going to? I just showed you the shocker $13 million Bitcoin forecast. That gets us to 13% of the capital in 2045. We have two strategies. Expand our currency to dominate the world with the digital currency of choice. Expand our capital to dominate the world with the digital capital of choice.
And there you have it, another episode of MSTR today. Here's my receipt from yesterday. I purchased a 0.711 share of MSTR for $296. It was a $211 total purchase as I continue to dollar cost average every single trading day of 2025. Every Sunday, I'm going to share my portfolio with you to see if I'm up, if I'm down. Right now, I am down. My average cost per share, I think, is somewhere around $312 per share. So I'm getting close to break even. So we'll keep up on that. And remember that you're the average of those 5 people you spend the most time with. So thank you for spending 10 to 15 minutes with me. I'm honored to be one of those people. There's a lot of FUD out there, fear, uncertainty, doubt. We've got to block out the noise, stay strong, stay true, because it is absolutely inevitable. And as Michael Saylor says, there is no second best.
What's the second best? There is no second best.